All right, shalom, shalom, and I'm back with another part two with the follow up.
Markets, politics, and geopolitics all matter. And there were three things.
I'm gone. I was gonna go to that one next, but we gotta finish this guy.
Be careful for those who are not paying attention. That little raccoon, I still remember it. There were 7 men, 20-year-old men. You know how much we can eat? Well, how far away are we from the Wile E. Coyote moment?
Right, and there have been a lot of things that are happening. Kenya is saying to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates that we will buy your oil from now on with Kenyan shillings instead of US dollars. In and of itself is not as big of a deal. I talk about the game of Jenga where you pull pieces out and finally the whole thing tips over. But what was very interesting about what he said was this piece where in the first 30 seconds, more or less what he says is, let me give you all some advice who hold US dollars. The term he uses, you should go to the nurses. He said, in the next few weeks, this market will be very different. In essence, he's intimating that something, some event, whatever that event may be, is going to happen in the next few weeks that will affect the dollar. That those holding dollars should do what they need to do right now, he says, because in the next few weeks, this market will be very different. And I found it to be rather concerning on a broader sense. The central theme has been about the loss of the petro standard, the broken chorus of countries, starting with the Belt Road Initiative and ending with the BRICS nations and everything in between.
Wait. What Andy's saying is that in 1971, Nixon took this off the gold standard. They had to back it up with something. So 74, Nixon and his protege Kissinger, they went to Saudi Arabia and said, if you make this the petrodollar, so they went from a gold dollar to a petrodollar. And so they gave the dollar immense power throughout the world because everybody had to take this stuff here. And so what happened when China enters the scene and all this stuff is going on, what Andy's talking about, this is going to come back on us now.
You need to get out of dollars and you need to do it quickly. If you don't, the whole market is changing and you need to go see a nurse if not. And what he was basically saying is get out of dollars. And how it all affects this moment when the world snaps their fingers and no longer takes dollars for oil. The ramifications of that are extraordinary and will be very similar to what you...
And like he said, they trying to abandon the dollar and go to the cryptocurrency or to the digital currency. But what they doing, if you notice what he was saying, that they was going to take out the little banks and allow the big banks to take over. So they slowly but surely narrowing down to the digital currency and to that one currency that everybody's going to be using. Some people say it's Fed app now, which is the app to where you get an allowance from the government and whatever you get is what you get, but they will be tracking all money, and and then the other one is the B system, which is mandatory, which is Fed app is a part of it. I don't know why I separated the two, but it's all the same thing. The B system to where you get the mark, the MOTB, the CHIP, is what they will call it, and you get your allowance through there, and you can wave your hand or you can scan your face, and those of them that's going to be a part of the society, the New World Order society is going to get it, while everybody else perish in the wayside. So it says in Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 10, it says, which says, on that day declares Yahweh, a cry will go up from the fish gate, a wailing from the new quarter, and a loud crash from the hills. Now, in the past, this is what they would explain it about, even though we know this is about the collapse. It says the fish gate was a key entrance to Jerusalem and was used by merchants to bring fish from the Mediterranean Sea. The gate is said to have been built by the sons of Hassanah and when Nehemiah built the walls. So it goes into a lot, but it doesn't tell you the actual interpretation. Examples like the fish gate has a number of symbolic meanings, including practical life. The fish gate illustrates the practical aspects of life in ancient Jerusalem. Spiritual vigilance. The fish gate symbolizes the importance of being vigilant in spiritual matters. It says consequence of disobedience. The fish gate illustrates the consequences of disobedience. Need for purity. For modern Christians, the fifth gate symbolizes the need to guard one's spiritual life and seek purity when that is way off. They don't want you to know that this represents the different collapses in history, in American history is that. So I'll go there. Wait, I need to put on a economic collapse in World War One. There you go. We got the economic Wall Street crash of 1929. It says the Wall Street crash of 1929, as also known as the Great Crash or Crash of 29, was a major stock market crash in the United States in late 1929. It began in late October with a sharp decline in share prices on the New York Stock Exchange and ended in mid-November. So I think this is the pretty much the Great Depression. Yeah, it did result in the Great Depression. It says men and women lost their life savings. That's what happened when the crash came. Feared for their jobs and worried whether they could pay their bills. Fear and uncertainty reduced purchases of big ticket items like automobiles that people bought with credit. Firms like Ford Motors saw demand decline, so they slowed production and furloughed workers. What was another one that I was going to go to? And then the next one was 2008. It says the 2008 financial crisis, also known as the Great Recession. It says was a severe economic downturn that lasted from December 2007 to June 2009. The crisis had a devastating impact on the global economy, causing a loss of jobs, a decline in home values, and a stock market crash. And then you got now, which is he explaining now. And after it happened, we'll get the official date. Crash of 2025 or the Greater Depression. That's what they're calling it. Or whatever. But the crash is happening. We are in the process of that now. And when it finally hit the ground, then they'll give it a name when it's all over with or whatever. But we can continue.
Spoke about at the beginning of this conversation. If the dollar collapses and all those dollars come flooding home and interest rates spike to the moon, everything in this country changes in the blink of an eye. Not only are the three pillars of wealth, stocks, bonds, and real estate, inversely correlated to a rise in interest rates, and we're not talking about a 25 or 50 basis point interest rate hike. And you can see just raising interest rates to 4.5% has already almost broke the entire world financial banking system. But I'm talking the world dumping dollars globally because they no longer need to hold it to own oil. The ramifications of that and hyperinflation as those dollars come flooding home, because as you mentioned, every country has had to own dollars since '74 in order to buy oil. It's created this synthetic demand. The ramifications of dollars being globally dumped simultaneously in favor of another settlement currency for oil, it's terrifying because everything that makes people feel wealthy in this country is inversely correlated to that moment. And when the dollar dies, along with stocks, bonds, and real estate, what does that mean in the analogy of 7 hungry Marines eating a raccoon? When the supply chains are completely broken, the dollar is worthless, the grocery stores are empty, people have no cash, they're ill prepared for what is coming. So yes, they.
And like it says in Isaiah 24, verse 11, it says, there is crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. So these people are getting a sense of hope, for Donald Trump making all of these promises. And when they come to naught and these promises fail, then these people are not going to see it coming, and they're going to be in their delusion. They gonna wonder why and just what the hell is going on. Like, what is the government doing? And I don't understand, why have they not come through with their promises? Why have they not fixed this? Why have they not fixed that? Whether it comes to sustaining the dollar, or whether it comes to bringing back the middle class, and none of that shit happened, or the Israelites getting any benefits or any type of reparations. They probably, or rumor has it, they ain't even doing stimulus checks no more. That's not coming out no more. So, when all these benefits fail and they don't come to, the residents of America, whether they be Edomite or Israelite, for those are people that reject the knowledge, and they refuse to listen to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, they ain't gonna know why, and they gonna search for answers, but they not gonna find none. And some of them that's dumb, no, that's smart, they're gonna go straight to the prophets, but the prophets ain't gonna be there no more. So we can go to that, the famine of the word, real quick. This is Amos chapter 8, verse 11 through 12. It says, the famine of the word. Wait. It says, Amos chapter 8, verses 11 through 12. It says, behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, that I will send a famine on the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but the hearings of the word of the Lord. So that right there is what everybody is going to be searching for. Whether they go to the churches, whether they go to the highways and byways, they're gonna try to go to the internet, and if the grid is affected, then they can't access the internet. Different power outages. Too much confusion. They can't seem to find these guys on the street anymore. And these guys then evacuated, and these prophets are going to be one step ahead of everybody all the time, because they're going to know exactly what to do, because they know the war plans of Yahweh Shem Shai. So while people are scrambling and trying to find anything they can come up on, and try to find answers, the prophets, they already done gathered up the food, and they done gathered and packed their bags, and they already evacuating the city to the best that they can and going into hiding. So these people are not gonna have any answers, and when you do find the prophets, they're not gonna answer you. They're not gonna give you any answers, and if they do answer, they gonna give you terrible prophecies, terrible omens. The fate that's gonna befall you is gonna be terrible. Some of them might have spiritual power, and they'll be able to tell you exactly how you're gonna die. Exactly what's gonna happen to you. They might be like, oh, you get a bullet to your head, or for a woman that's trying to be saved, oh, you'll be raped by 15 soldiers, or for a wicked man, that want to ask for help, and they could have been asked for it, instead of walking past and ignoring them. They could remember that man and be like, yeah, you gonna fall to your death off a building running from your enemies. They're gonna know certain things that's gonna terrify you, and that's gonna terrify different people, and people that's gonna hear all this, they gonna want to hurt them, because they feel like they not gonna get the answer. They gonna try to take it. You can't take something that's not yours. If it's given to the prophets, it's given to them. That's a gift. That it's like trying to take something that you can't see, take the essence of something like that. Like, it's impossible, bro. Like, if they don't want to save you, they don't want to save you, and that's how it's gonna be.
Come knocking in my mind's eye, I guess I would say, when people have nothing to lose, they lose it. And that's the kind of environment that I would envision, God forbid, that we're not so really far away from when you look at the pieces that are being put into place. I'd like to mention one in particular, and it really been overlooked, in my opinion, by the media, and I don't quite understand it. But in terms of what happened in Saudi Arabia, here you've got Sunni and Shiite, they've been at each other's throats for centuries, and it is a reconciliation between the two countries brokered by China, and the two countries are now reestablishing diplomatic ties and opening embassies in each other's country.
And then also what happened was when Biden went to Saudi Arabia, they didn't even talk to him. Because why would they talk to him? He's a woke guy. He says, we're going to put oil out of business. I'm going to talk to Biden. You know what I mean? But when Xi goes in, the guy head of China, he gets a royal welcome because he's going to buy oil from Saudi Arabia. And it was Biden who cut down the Keystone XL pipeline that sent oil from $30 a barrel to $130 a barrel, which destroys the middle class because they can't afford, they got to choose between putting gas in the car or eating. And that's why I used the example of sitting there with this.
Sorry about the noise. I just came in back from grabbing some water. But as you can see, like he said, the middle class is destroying them. And a lot of them fell for the ultimate trap. And the ultimate trap was the American dream. Even their own people fell for that ultimate trap. And, look what become of them. It's like, damn, like I can't live. I can't take care of my kids. I can't take care of my wife. We can't have what we want to have. We can't travel. We can't do anything because we got to spend all our money on mortgage. The bills are high. The cost of food is so high that's all we can pay attention to. We got to work. We got to do overtime. You got a lot of these Edomites complaining about the condition of America. And little do they know, it's their fault. It's their fault. They didn't care during the times of slavery when you had these groups that was being developed, these secret societies that was being developed, and some of them was already in power, and they was planning, how to take everything, and when they die, the next generation would be able to take control, and they was planning from world dominance while they was chasing around the Edomites, hanging them, burning them, cutting them up, laughing at them. This is exactly what they was doing. Their ancestors, they was doing this. So you got to understand that it's their fault, and they try to act like it's oblivious, and no, they oblivious, and they don't understand why they don't know what's going on when y'all don't understand that it's deeper than that. It's y'all fault. It ain't got nothing to do with the Israelites. It ain't got nothing to do with them. It got something to do with you and what your ancestors had did long ago, and you didn't care about none of that when you let you allowed the government to take control, and these secret societies was developing their plans. You didn't care about that. And they all of this is just coming to a head for them, and you can't really feel bad. Like I said, it's just the rich and the poor. At this point, the mid class is broke. They struggling, and they got so many bills on them. It's not even funny. And for wait, like it say in the Bible, let me go to it. This is Matthew chapter 18, verse 4. It says, whoever will humble himself, therefore, and become like this little child, trusting, lowly, loving, forgiving, is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So, wait, there was another version. It says if you humble yourself as a child, if you don't humble yourself as a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. So, everything, a child don't got to worry about nothing. A child don't have to worry about no money. They don't have an understanding of the world. They don't care about none of that. All they care about is their innocence and their joy. and they pretty much let their parents take care of them. And in an instance for Israel, Yahweh Shem Shai is our parent, and we don't have to worry about nothing. But we have to become that way. We can't be too attached to the world and what's going on in it. So a lot of Israelites is falling victim to that. Oh, I want a family. Oh, I want a girlfriend. I want a baby. And the society is so corrupted and distraught. To where you get married, and next thing you know, the person that the woman in your dreams don't even want you, and all she wanted was to set you up so she can divorce you and take half your shit, and then put you on child support and alimony so she can have a living and you can just be her wallet and she's free to do whatever she wants. And some instances, men that be thinking that they have babies by these girls, these girls done been sleeping with two men at the same time, him and another guy, and come to find out his baby ain't even his. you know and things could go down like that. That's how fucked up the world is. And like they said, they got men going their own way, men walking away, men calling it quits. Like, some men doing their own thing. Some of the, well, and particularly the Israelite brothers, they just hit it and quit it type of motto. They're not taking these women seriously, and it's for all purposes. It's justified because the way the women work, they work for the state too. Our women work for the state too, and they'll betray us at any moment for $1. So, it's good to see that this is crashing. More power to it to see that this dollar go away. It's time to end all of this. Like it says, wait, it says. This is Deuteronomy 28:48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, and in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he destroy thee. Well, that go in that too. That go in that too, even though I wasn't looking for that verse, but that's exactly what happened to us, so we can go to the other one that I was looking for. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 8. It says, it shall come to pass in that day, says Yahweh Lord of hosts, that I will break the yoke off your neck, and I will tear off your bonds and force apart your shackles. Meaning that this system that's holding us prisoner, this very this money game that's keeping us working and keeping us enslaved and keeping us focused on things that we'll never have, is about to break apart. And we getting closer and closer to our freedom. Now when the MOTB come in, when the digital chip come in, then you're gonna have to choose whether you're gonna trust in Yahweh Shem Shai and know that he gonna provide you with food, he gonna provide you with shelter, he gonna provide you with warmth and clothes on your back, or you gonna go back into the system and you gonna get chipped, and you gonna depend on your masters. You're gonna depend on Pharaoh. You're gonna depend on these Edomites to take care of you. So we getting to that point to where a lot of them is not going to understand the word freedom. They're not going to understand liberation. And this is what our ancestors fought for so long ago. They fought for this. So for us to see this day coming, they wish they were here to see this day coming, even though our ancestors is us, but in a sort of speak, they wish they was back then. They wish the days, these days came back then, and then we have to it's a long time coming that we got to these points to where we seeing these wonderful signs, we seeing these things happen, we seeing Yahweh Shem Shai and his beautiful wondrous works at play on getting those of us that believe out of here, Yahweh willing, because we trying to get out of here.
On the raccoon, and at least we had something. But when the other 7 guys came across and they were starving also, you have not lived and seen desperation like that. And I'm saying to all of you, if your kids are starving, what would you do?
Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is 60% of human population in and of itself, or pretty darn close to it. The Eurasian Economic Union and the BRICS, all of them together are north of 80% of human population who are not going green. And add the other countries, 60 of them, including Mexico, and including perhaps Japan, and including perhaps Australia and New Zealand, those aren't even part of the 60, that are applying or have expressed interest into applying. You're dealing with the majority of human population. And what China is doing, it's around cooperation, upon reconciliation. They're going into countries like South America. They're going into Africa. They're going into the Arab states, and they are building infrastructure. They're building bridges. They're building roads. They're bringing ports. Building oil refineries.
What Andy is saying is, I was in Zimbabwe, and we fly helicopters out there to go hunting. And this guy says, that's a Chinese compound there. And there was like this college campus filled with Chinese people building infrastructure. They were putting in fiber optic cable for the country, the Chinese were. They're doing all the things that makes a country richer, but they're countries with resources, generally with stuff that the Chinese want to use. So we send our cheap-ass dollars, these things here. We buy their, gold, silver, oil, copper. We pay them with fake money, but the Chinese go there and actually make their economy stronger via infrastructure. And I've seen these large campuses of Chinese people. I'm going, holy mackerel, this is the last 10 years. So when you see it, you go, what the hell is the U.S. doing?
And they're coming in and they're industrializing these countries that in a mutually beneficial way, giving the hope of a middle class, the hope of a better life, and doing it the right way with cooperation instead of coercion. And look, this is the first time in arguably 5 centuries that you don't have a political leader from the West setting the global agenda here. This is Xi Jinping and Vladimir that are setting the global agenda by going into these countries and making life better for everyone, and mending fences, and reuniting countries that have hated each other forever under a common goal.
They're not stealing the country's wealth with fake money.
Right.
When they spell quantitative easing, that's called counterfeiting money. So
Right.
all the U.S. had to do was print this stuff, and you could steal a nation's wealth. You could go to the Congo and take out all the stuff, the diamonds, the oil. You could go to oil-producing countries, steal their wealth with fake money. And what Andy is saying, it's over.
The de-dollarization, the lack of demand for the dollar, is going to increase inflation exponentially. You are witnessing a 100-year change. And when the switch flips, all of these countries have joined together and they dump dollars globally. It will be a religious experience in this country. If you are not prepared, you're dead.
And that's what that guy from Kenya was saying.
Right, and this is a result from America's tyranny. So we can get another Bible scripture. It says, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. It says, because he transgresseth by wine, which is knowledge, and the dollar is a part of the deceit. He is a proud man, neither he keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell and as death, and cannot be satisfied. So that right there is the result of, like I said in Revelation, that the dragon wanted to burn her and eat her flesh, which is the whore that sit up upon the 7-headed dragon. These nations, even the nations that be on the side of the U.S., they getting tired of it, and they want to join forces and finally get rid of the U.S. So that right there explains it all.
Now, I'm a Marine. I've been in my own homes. I've had people break in Hawaii. When people are desperate people do desperate things. We're getting there now. Let me say one more thing. There's a thing called Triffin's Dilemma. Triffin's Dilemma meant that for the U.S. to be the world's money reserve currency in 1944, they had to print extra of this. So the whole world had this in their banks all over the world. They have more of this stuff than any other product in history. This is toilet paper. And what that guy was saying from Kenya is when this stuff starts coming back in, it's just not how much they printed, it's how much they've had in storage. Because they had to be able to buy oil in this stuff here. So what's going to come back is a tidal wave of this toilet paper upon America. And this look.
And people, like he said, toilet paper, because it's gonna be a time and day to where instead of the $100 being in your pocket, it's gonna be a time and day to where it's gonna be thousands of dollars in the street. You're gonna see like $40 million covering a boulevard. You know, you're gonna be seeing dollars in trash cans keeping people warm. You know, you're gonna be seeing people sleeping on this money. You know, you're gonna be seeing it all washing away in the sewers. It's gonna be horrible, bro. It's gonna be horrible, especially for people that's all about money. It's gonna break their heart to see this dollar go.
$5 coin here. I don't like to make predictions, but I'd rather have this than this.
They smart, man. People getting prepared, man. Let me see if I can get one more and then I'll close out. A lot of these Edomites see it coming, dog. I can't see how everybody else can't see it coming.
Everybody is talking about the U.S. debt crisis.
Let me get to that. Let me get a little bit of him too.
Be careful. This bubble right now.
I see it.
Everybody is talking about the U.S. debt crisis, but unfortunately, it's a lot worse than you think. I'm going to reveal what the experts and the mainstream media aren't telling you about the U.S. debt crisis in 3 simple, fast steps. Step number 1, let's go over the problem, at least the problem as they describe it. So we've got the government right here, and your drunk, insolvent Uncle Sam, and he is spending money like the drunken sailor he is, that's for sure. So the government is spending all of these currency units, these dollars, into the real economy. We have the average Joes here, and then we'll just call it business XYZ. This represents the private sector. Well, the government has to get this money from somewhere, so they're going to get it one of 2 ways. Number 1, they're going to go ahead and extract money from the private sector through taxation. So let's say that we have $8 going into the economy. Well, they're going to pull 3 of those dollars out in order to continue to spend in the future. But you say, wait a minute, George, if they're spending $8 and only extracting 3 in taxes, I am no mathematician, but I know that dog don't hunt. So what they also have to do is they have to sell debt, they have to sell treasuries, they have to borrow money. So they'll go into the private sector and they'll say, please, please, guys, would you please buy our debt? And then some individuals or entities in the private sector say, yeah, that's a decent deal. I know T-bills are paying about 4.75%, so we'll go ahead and do it. So your drunk, insolvent Uncle Sam issues those treasuries that goes onto the balance sheet of the private sector, and then those currency units, those dollars, go into the coffers of your drunk, insolvent Uncle Sam, so he can go ahead and re-spend it and redistribute it back into the economy because he wants to buy votes. This is how he does it. But we have to notice that now he's only collecting 5 and spending 8, so he still has a problem. So he has to go to other buyers. Insert the foreign buyers of U.S. treasuries. It's not your average Joe. No. It is his Saudi Arabian cousin, the average Mohammed. So the average Mo Ahmed says, yeah, that's a pretty good deal. I'll go ahead and buy this U.S. government debt because it's yielding right around 4 or 5%. So those treasuries go onto his balance sheet, and then he gives the United States the extra $3. Now they have the $8 they need to continue to spend like the drunken sailors they are. And especially over the last 15 years, this problem of overspending has gotten completely and totally out of control, which is why a lot of people are labeling it a crisis. You don't believe me? Look at the debt from 2009, 2010 or so to today's date. It's gone from roughly 9 trillion to 35 trillion, an increase of over $25 trillion. So let that sink in for a moment. From the time that we started the United States in the late 1700s, all the way to 2009 or 2010, that entire, let's say, 200 plus year span, we racked up 9 trillion in debt. And just in the last 15 years, we tacked on another 25 trillion. And I can assure you the debt isn't going to go down anytime soon. In my view, it's going to continue to grow at a much more rapid pace. In other words, it's going to go exponential. But how did we get to this point? How does the debt continue to climb and climb and climb and climb, and then just go straight up? Because of the deficits. So this is what I'm talking about. It's the delta between what is collected in taxes and what is actually spent. That means additional treasuries make up the balance. So right now, the debt is about $35 trillion, like we said. So what this means is the government has spent $35 trillion more than it has collected. So there's $35 trillion worth of treasuries that are on the balance sheets of entities inside and outside of the United States.
And you wonder, you think that these dope boys, and you think that these celebrities, you think these rappers and these athletes spend money, and the main ones that spending money is the motherfuckers that's running the U.S., man. That's greed, man, and they don't give a fuck. So we can go to this real quick if I can find it.
See, doubt because
Come on, I ain't worried about you.
The anger and the frustration be right back here.
And right here it says, white America angry that so many black people are talking about their judgment because a lot of the Israelites are waking up and realizing who they are, you know. But some of them, they call the Lord Yah. Some of them call him Elohim. Some of them call him God, you know. Some of them still call him the Messiah Jesus, but they just know that he black. But the real name is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai and his son Yahushai. Everybody else that's calling him by them different names, those names hold no power. So, you know, these are still by default two wicked 2/3 that won't exalt Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai and do they proper study like they supposed to and read the Paleo Hebrew or listen to the prophets and then go figure out if they true or not, you know, by reading the Paleo Hebrew and finding out for themselves, you know. But they still calling them by the wrong names, you know. They still going on about they way of interpretation, and you know, so on and so forth. So, you know, with all that, you know, it's a good thing that they waking up, but not all, like the Most High say, many are called but few are chosen. So it's literally in the sense of that. And then you got the ones that think they perfect in the word and they know the name, but at the same time, like how it said, the law won't save you, you know. Only faith will save you. Even though faith and works go together, faith without works is dead, you know. But at the same time, faith is rather chosen over all. So, you know, you got the new covenant guys coming out, and I do believe in the new covenant because none of us can follow the laws. The only one that followed the law perfectly was Yahweh Shai when he was on the earth. You know, when he was on the earth, when he came and he did all the miracles and he was going against the Pharisees with the 12 prophets. So, you know, he was the only one that did it perfectly. So how in the hell we can say that we can obey the law, you know, and we cannot be perfect. We can do it, we can try to the best of our abilities, but we cannot be perfect. And we can't stand before Yahweh Shem Yahushai and say, well, I followed this law and I followed that law and I did everything in my power. And, you know, through Yahweh Shem Yahushai is supposed to spare you. So I do believe, you know, that we can't follow the old covenant because we can die by that. And like the Most High said, he got the new wine, which is the new covenant. And through Yahweh Shai's sacrifice, which is his passion that he went through, he covered us in the blood and he saved us. And our sins are exempt because of what he did. So, you know, we are blessed as long as we acknowledge the new covenant and we have good hearts. So, of course, we're going to try to practice some of the rules of the old covenant to the best that we can, but we know we're not perfect. You know, so the new covenant does come into play with that, and I do believe that that right there is necessary for us to be redeemed, and I believe it. You know, because I can't follow the laws like that. I ain't perfect. I'm far from perfect. You know, so it's like, how in the hell did I'm gonna be saved? But the new covenant was the truth, and it's always been there in the Bible. You know, so there you go.
Why the am I seeing people praising all these people dying, all these towns gone because they think it's sundown town? I just don't understand why people are talking like this and going on like this. This is disgusting behavior, and you should be ashamed of yourself. It's disgusting. Uncle Wolfie here. Why the seeing people praising all these people dying, all these towns gone because they think it's sundown towns? I am an anthropology major, and I am going to spend the next few years proving that these sundown towns do not work in the capacity that they used to. I am from Vidor, Texas. I lived there, grew up there, still have family there. Here's their logo. And I have every different shade of wheat in my family. Prepare to see a book in a few years because this pisses me off. These towns are not like they were 40 years ago whatsoever. I was 10 minutes down the road from Jasper, Texas when that man got dragged down the road. These are just Americans at this point. Most of those people who were super and overly racist have died off. These are just Americans. Stop saying dumb shit! Uncle Wolfie out. Yeah, we heard about them. And lots of people died in those, lost their homes, lost everything, and businesses, and they're struggling, and pets are missing, and people are missing, and you are disgusting. Very, very disgusting. I just don't understand why people are talking like this and going on like this. This is disgusting behavior, and you should be ashamed of yourself. It's disgusting. It's nasty behavior. People should not act like this. Grow up. God did not pick these people to send a hurricane to hurt. I have friends down there. Luckily, they're okay. But you people are just absolutely disgusting that are talking this way. Have the day you deserve. I'm so y'all. Every single month.
I think this is partaken to I do believe Miami, Florida being washed away and the sundown towns being washed away. It says on Reddit, it says, what are your thoughts of the sundown towns currently being washed away and flooding? And any particular places you've had bad experiences that are now underwater? This was 2 months ago. And this is one of the Israelite people. It says, I am well aware that black people lived in the affected areas, and I'm aware that there are people who are trapped there, but I still want to know how people who have had to actually experience racism and abuse and violence of these towns feel about what the people there are now experiencing. I can't imagine what it's like to open up Facebook and see a bunch of people who have ignored the suffering of black people all over the country for years, and this is true. It says, and even celebrated harm coming to black people, having all their hopes and their dreams washed away. And that is true because different times in history when blacks had vibrant, beautiful towns, these the Edomites, they would create dams, and these dams would be so massive that when they released it, it would wash the whole entire town away and create giant lakes. So some of these lakes in different parts of the U.S. they still have towns of black folks down there underwater. So when the sundown towns got hit in Miami, Florida, I do believe so. Yep, it says if you're asking about hurricane in Miami that impacted a sundown town, the most likely reference is Hurricane Andrew, which struck South Florida. Oh wait, it isn't showing any. Hold on. No, I ain't looking for that on TikTok. Hmm. I think that was it. And it was in South Florida where that happened. So yeah, it was there, and they got washed away. So it was a spiritual moment for the Israelites to see Yahweh Shem Shai pay the enemy back, and it was the sundown towns that drowned, and a lot of those people that were part of the racism, the Edomites, they came up in the water. So this offended a lot of the Edomites, but these Edomites that are standing up is not blaming themselves, and they not blaming their own people for them getting laughed at, humiliated over their own tyranny. So it came back on them, and a lot of the Israelites is laughing at them. And as they should, because at the end of the day, it was they fault. They did what they did, and now the judgment of Yahweh is upon them, and it's coming down on them hard. But this is just one case of what's going on with them. So as far as I'm concerned, this is just the replies that they gave.
I can't believe how many people are making videos like this. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. And when I say y'all, I mean black, white, or otherwise. Anybody who would have this kind of take during something so catastrophic happening. People have lost their lives, loved ones, children have died. There's hundreds of people still missing and unaccounted for. And y'all want to use it for a gotcha moment and claim they're all motherfucking sundown towns and that they somehow like trying to insinuate that they brought it on themselves. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Never have I ever wanted to be able to have the ability to go through a. Never have I ever wanted to be able to have the ability. Okay, I want to pause it real quick. So they're giving us a rundown of things that have happened to people. They are responding to what is happening to a certain demographic of people, right? So what it says to me is you don't want to look at the suffering of our children, of our ancestors, of our people even today. We are met with a barrage of insults, insensitivity, a lack of empathy, apathy, whatever, when it comes to things that are.
She goes on and on about it, but I got to close out because the time is up on my tablet. And with that, on to the next episode. Shalom.